Hey, y'all, it's Marianne Pack, your spiritual guide. And I want to welcome you to Coffee and Convo Live. Today, we have a really special friend of mine, Dr. Davia Shepherd. And I'm just so happy to have her here. She's taken some time out of her Sunday morning, and her family is in the background. So we may hear a little chitter chatter of kids. And that's perfectly great because we are families and we are at home and it's Sunday morning and we're enjoying our time together. So, welcome, Davia. I am so thankful that you're here.
Marianne, thank you so much for the invitation. I truly, truly appreciate it. And I'm really happy to be here with you and happy to be spending Sunday morning, not just with my family, but also with you and your family. And yes, I can hear them in the background. That just means that they're happy and they're having
That's
fun.
right.
And that's really what we're all about.
That's right. Uh, we are all about having fun because that's what these coffee and convo lives are for. They're for fun and for joy and for enlightenment and sharing and a safe space and a sacred time. And I'm so looking forward to our conversation today on collaboration. So we're going to find out what that means. Um, so let's see. You're welcome to make comments or add questions. I will try to be more mindful than I was last week because I got so involved with the conversation. I mean, last month with Rob and Finney, and I didn't realize we had comments. So hopefully I'll pay a little bit more attention. But let's set our intention first. I'm a big proponent of segment intending because it is such powerful energy when we set an intention about how we want to feel and what we want to experience. So it's vital if we want to create the reality that we want, we have to intend it. So that energy we're projecting forward into that segment of our day. And this is a new segment because we're here together. And even as you're watching on the replay, energy knows no bounds. This work knows no bounds. So it doesn't matter when you listen to this video, that energy is from your intention, what you're placing your intention on. And today, because we're talking about collaboration, we want to be uplifters. So I would like us to set our intention to be uplifters, to be encouragers, to be praisers, to be celebratory with others around us and our own accomplishments or our own things that we're transforming. So let's just take a deep breath in and inhale, being an uplifter. And then just release as you exhale any fear or competition, any, uncertainty that you might have. So let's inhale being uplifters and exhale any fear or competition. Inhale, uplifting. Just relax into it. Put that intention. Feel what you want to feel. You want to feel good. You want to feel appreciative. You want to feel joy. You want to experience clarity and value. Thank you. Thank you for setting your intention with me. That is a powerful putting forth of your energetic, the energy that you want to receive back. So that's very important. I met Davia during a year-long coaching program, and we've got to spend a lot of time together virtually because a lot of our work was virtually, and then also in person because we actually got to be roommates at one of our retreats in our program. And that was such a joy, such a precious time to be able to spend a few minutes each day with her and in her presence. So even now, we just regularly talk because we uplift each other.
Yes.
That's the whole point. We want to be uplifters, and that's what we even provide for each other now. So I want to just real quickly before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about Davia. And she's been in the medical field and the healing arts for over 20 years. She's a chiropractor in Connecticut, and she's holistically guides patients into their optimal life. And I know about this because I'm one of her patients. She is the chief happiness officer of her Ladies Power Lunch. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and where she got that title, how she titled herself that. Um, and and their mission is to uplift each other and support each other. And that's her one rule. What do you say your one rule is?
One rule, just support each other.
There you go. It's pretty easy to be in her Ladies Power Lunch group. So we're going to send you an invitation for that. Davia, if you wouldn't mind, just post that in the comments, your link to your Ladies Power Lunch, and also your chat with Dr. W.
Okay.
Um, she's also a wife and mother, as you can hear, her little ones. She has two young sons, and we're going to get to hear maybe a little bit about them. So I want to express my sincere gratitude that she is taking time from her family and with her family, as she said, to spend time with us today. So she's just a beautiful proponent of uplifting others. So I heard you on a podcast yesterday. You had posted a podcast that you were on, and I loved the existential question that the podcast host posed to you. So, who is Davia Shepherd?
Wow, it's who is Davia Shepherd? That is a big question, and I seem to be asked that a lot recently. I'm a physician, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, but I think that my job on this planet is to be a beacon, to
Hmm.
be the person who shines the light on the others so that they can be seen and that their gifts and talents can radiate out into the world. And I am embracing that more and more fully every single day. And, we're all growing and we're all changing every day. But for right now, this is what feels right. I am an uplifter.
I love it. And I wanted to bring her back on. She was here in April and she taught us her happiness prescription, which is very good. So if you didn't see that video back in April, go back through my news feed and on my page at Marianne Pack Coaching and find that interview because we had a really it was very eye-opening to learn how to start practicing some of these prescriptions that she gives for being happy because she worked through that. And this is what she learned, and that's what came out of her transformation. So I love that you're an uplifter. That's what I feel like I am, and that's what these coffee and convos are all about. I love collaborating. I love uplifting other people. Um, and it's time for us to get out of that spirit of competition, into that energy of competition and fear and uncertainty, and you have to fight and claw your way to the top. But if we just relax and just uplift each other, we will all rise. We
Yes,
will rise.
I absolutely agree with that. In our Ladies Power Lunch group, there are our list is probably about 1,200 women. So you can imagine that there's going to be some overlap. You're going to have members who, many members who do pretty much the same thing.
Mm.
There are tons of coaches, there are tons of all different types of professions. But one of the things that I am so confident about is that we're all here to support each other. And it doesn't matter if we're even doing things that are similar. Maybe this idea, maybe not, but maybe it was born out of working in private practice and working in a sort of practice group setting. And, in that sort of setting, you have a bunch of different doctors who do pretty much the same thing.
Mm.
In my case, we treat patients who have pain, and 80% of Americans have pain. So believe me when I tell you, there
You
is
have a
no
lot of patience
shortage
to pick
of
from.
patients. And so we're in practice, and I can give you a very, very classic example. If a patient comes in who might be my partner's patient, but my partner is unavailable and the patient has to see me, they're okay with it because they need to be seen today. But I promise you, if that's not my patient, they're not coming back to see me unless it's absolutely necessary. They want to see their doctor. And if you think about your practice that you go into, for example, when you have to go to see your physician, if you have to see another doctor, you will, but you want to go back to your person the next time you go in. And it's the same way with any kind of profession. Nobody can steal your clients. It's not possible. If that person's meant for you, if that person loves you, if that person really has a good connection with you, they will stick with you. So there's no such thing really as competition, in my opinion. It's more of a mental construct
Mhm.
that I think holds us back instead of helps us
Absolutely.
to move forward.
I totally agree with that. I don't feel like there's competition. I mean, there are other coaches that I have that I want to interview, and they pretty much do very similar things to me, but it's like it's like that. It's you start realizing I call it my vibe tribe because
Hmm.
it's the people that vibe with me, but they still appreciate learning from other coaches. And I love that. I love sharing other people's work. So I totally agree with that. I do want to pop in and just ask you, um, how did you choose that title, your Chief Happiness Officer? How did that come about for your Lady Power Lunch?
So, when you're doing your paperwork for incorporating your company, you have to designate yourself
Mhm.
something. Um, I don't know, CEO didn't feel right for me. Chief Executive Officer, like if any of you've ever met me, you know that I'm a corporate refugee. I am so done with anything that has that executive title. I'm really, really ready to be more relaxed and more happy in my life. And my number one goal in life right now is happiness. And I try to teach my little munchkins who are outside being happy right now. I try to teach them that that's the most important thing. If you can raise your vibration, if you can keep your energy levels as high as possible, this is when the real beauty and that real sweet, juicy spot of life actually starts unfolding for you. And so this
Mhm.
is something that I want to embody personally, but it's also something that I would love for my little tribe of women to embody as well. And so when I had to fill in that paperwork asking me what my designation is, Chief Executive Officer was not doing it for me, Marianne.
Mhm.
So it had to be Chief Happiness Officer.
Absolutely. Yep. You exude happiness. So it's always so fun to be in her presence because of her happiness. It just spreads. It's just one of those contagions that we
Well,
want.
I don't mind that kind of
That's
contagion. I know we're
exactly right.
facing a different kind right now. This one I'm okay with. And I want to put a little fine point on this because and I said this when we had our last coffee and conversation that my intention is not to suggest putting a happy face sticker on a bad situation
Hmm.
because the energetics of that is never going to be right. But what I am suggesting is when it comes to this happiness of which I speak, what I am suggesting is why don't we, no matter what's going on around us, no matter what the pictures of our lives look like, why don't we still try to reach for that inner peace, that
Mhm.
inner joy? It's that inner happiness, that
Yes.
little spark of life and love that's coming from inside. That's what I'm talking about when I designate myself as the chief happiness officer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that little spark that we all have. Sometimes we just have our bushel over it.
Yep.
Sometimes we've got it buried
We
in the
all have it. We
quagmire.
all have it. Every single one of us have it. I'm going to channel Oprah right now and say, you are a chief happiness officer and you are a happiness officer and everybody is a chief happiness officer. We all have it.
Absolutely. We do. And I love that Abraham Hicks quote, you are joy,
Yes.
looking for a way to express. You are joy. It's not that you just feel joy. It's that that's who you are. So embody it.
Yes.
Claim it, own it.
So I've claimed it and I'm owning it.
There you go, girl. Awesome. Tell us just a little bit about Ladies Power Lunch and what you do, and maybe even how people can join that.
Okay. So Ladies Power Lunch is it's a group of women, and give me a sec. I'm going to close this door so maybe it might be a little quieter in here. Okay. Can you hear me a little bit better now?
Yeah, you're good. We
Okay.
heard you good before.
Awesome. So, Ladies Power Lunch is a group of women that have come together to support each other. It's a platform that I have built, but it's a completely free platform. So, it's open for women to join. Most of the women who are our members, they are entrepreneurs. Some of the women, they do have positions of corporate oversight. Some are retired and they offer mentorship to the other younger members. There's just a real wide range of women who are part of our group. But how we started was kind of funny and probably not all that funny. We were just a group of women who were friends, and we kept trying so hard to meet up with each other and have lunch.
Hmm.
Some of us were entrepreneurs, some of us were in corporate. We were busy women. We have families. Some of us had, at the time, older parents who we would take care of. It
Mhm.
was pretty busy times for everybody. And so we're trying for months to get together to actually see each other. And finally, it was the third Monday of the month. I don't even remember what month it was, but I remember it was the third Monday of the month. And we got together on a Ruby Tuesday on Route 6 in Bristol because that was just the most convenient place that we could all meet up. And everybody had a fantastic time. And not just a fantastic time from the point of, haha, yay, great, we're seeing each other, but if somebody had a problem, there was a solution to be had within the group. If somebody had a concern, there was somebody to hold our hand. If somebody had an idea, it was an opportunity to have the group be our sounding board. And it was just so uplifting and so enriching that every single person who was present for that very first meeting said, wow, this was
Mhm.
so powerful. I wish we could do this again soon,
Mhm.
probably even regularly. Me being the one who, if you want to get something done, you call Davia. I said, okay, here's what I'll do. I'm going to make this happen. Let's all put it on our calendars. It will be a recurring event. If you can make it, third Monday every month. If you can make it, great. If you can't, that's fine. We'll see you next month. And you're always invited to bring a friend. And so we grew from the 6 women in a Ruby Tuesday on Route 6 to a list of about 1,200 women in terms of women who identify as members, and about 60,000 women in terms of our reach out there in the world. So I don't know. I feel like it's more for me now a calling. It's more a passion. it's more just me giving to the community, and
Mm.
the community gives back to me in terms of energy and just in spades in terms of love. So I cannot say enough about this wonderful group of women, of which you are an integral part, Marianne, and we appreciate and love you and are so blessed to have you share with us.
Well, I have enjoyed it. I Davia asked me to do a talk in January to her group, and I hadn't joined yet. So I joined in January when I did a talk for her group, and it was a practical guide to intention setting. So
Mhm.
that was a real fun time. They were having their in-person meeting, and then Davia had me on a Zoom screen.
Yeah.
So I got to visit with them and actually got to see them in their room eating lunch together.
And
And
this was back when we used to meet in
yeah,
person.
yes. So the recent ones have all been virtual, and
Mhm.
just been powerful. So if you are an entrepreneur or you're in corporate, or you just want some more contact and some more community and connection and support, um, because the people in this group run the gambit. I mean, there's everybody from health to wellness to coaching to finance. Um, what are some of the other groups like?
Well, I'll give you an example. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually, you guys are gonna go on a home tour with me right now because I'm gonna actually move me to a quieter little spot where we can continue our conversation. But I'll give you an example of how things have worked really, really well in the group. We had three women in the group who are web designers. They do websites.
Mhm.
And this was great. I mean, pretty much every business needs a website. And so
Mhm.
they they were in the right place at the right time. And it just so happens, and this comes ties right back into our conversation about competition and what competition is and what it is not. These women came to ladies' lunch, sat at the table, we had lunch, they met each other. And wouldn't you know, these three women ended up going into business together. They ended up forming a company because one of them, she likes SEO. Like
Wow.
if it's if you're talking analytics, if you're talking numbers for websites, she
Mhm.
is about it. That's how her brain works.
Mhm.
That's her favorite thing. Another one of the women, she's a design person and she will make your website look so beautiful. And it's
Mhm.
just amazing the things that she can do with color and words and just beautiful stuff. And then the other woman, I think her area of expertise was more on the social media connection side of things. And when those three women got together, their business exploded. So
Imagine.
it went from one person trying to get the word out there about my little business and I can do your website to three powerhouses crushing it in that website development space. And when you look at one of their websites nowadays, it's a thing of beauty. It's a fantastic thing to behold. And frankly, when anybody asks me about, oh, do you know somebody who does websites? They're really the first people who come to mind for me. So
Mhm.
there are just all sorts of professions in the group, from attorneys to physicians
Mhm.
to videographers to website developers. And the thing that's really great is that if you are in a profession and there's somebody in the group who's in an allied profession, there's always an opportunity to collaborate. So, for
Mhm.
example, I have a woman who is a videographer, and there's another woman in the group who is a photographer, and then there's another woman in the group who she actually plans events, and she also has equipment that people can use for events. And we were all talking one day, and the idea came up. to, why don't we do, because I'm always thinking about hosting events. I miss that part so very, very much ever since we've been in quarantine. But the idea came to me, why don't we do an expo for people who want to have events? And then there was another woman in the group who owns a couple of venues that actually host weddings and other types of events. And so it turned into something big and wonderful. But it's when we come together, when we put those minds together, that you really, really see the beauty of it. So I'm all about coming together instead of pulling apart.
I agree. I love that. It's like Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich talks about, when you come together, there's another mind, a mastermind.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you're talking about. What a perfect example of all those web designers getting together and becoming a powerhouse. So much
Believe
more
me, if you
powerful than
see
they could
one
have
of
been
their websites, you'll
on
see
their
what I'm talking about. Because individually, they are such powerful, talented
own.
women. But
Mhm.
it's one of those things that I like to say, it's more of a 1 + 1 = 3 or greater
Mhm. Mhm.
situation.
Mhm.
When you're by yourself, there's just so much that you can do. But when you come together the right way, and the energetics have to be right. You can't
Oh,
just
definitely.
collaborate with just anybody. I would never ever suggest that. But if the energetics are right, the
Mhm.
talents are aligned, the beauty of what you can put out there is going to be greater than just each of you individually. And
Mhm.
that has been my experience within the group,
Mhm.
within my own personal business, and just in life in general.
Mhm. I agree. Even in a coaching program with me, I like to give people the opportunity to have a session with another coach because their perspective is so different from mine, or
Mhm.
just a tweak enough that that one session may be one of the huge aha moments of working with me because they had an opportunity to work with someone else. So I love the collaboration. I love that idea. And like you said, the energy has to be right. You have to vibe together. There
Yes.
has to be a connection, and you will feel it. You'll know. If you're like always second guessing yourself, it might not be time, or it might not be right now. But
Mhm.
um, it's, yeah, when you get it, it clicks, and you will know that click.
I
Uh,
was having a conversation with some of the women who are part of our ladies power lunch the other
mhm,
day, and one of the women, she's a marketer, she really put a fine point on it. She said a lot of the times we forget to ask ourselves and we forget to trust ourselves in
mhm,
terms of what's the next step for us. And we go out there and we're doing all of these things. And she was talking specifically about marketing, but I'm applying this to the
mhm.
idea of collaborating. And you can trust yourself and ask yourself, is this going to be a good collaboration for me? And sometimes you'll get some pings and you don't really know what they're about. That not this time or not right now. And it doesn't mean that there's something inherently wrong with the other person that you're about to consider collaborating with, but it might mean that this is not the best fit for you, that there's a different collaboration that is available for you that you
Mhm.
haven't thought about, or that there is a different way or a different timing, a different timeline for
Right.
this to make itself into reality. So I would say when it comes to collaborations, trust your gut. And
Right.
how many times, Marianne, have you not listened to your gut and then you've been sorry afterwards?
Over and over.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we all have that intuition. We all have that inner knowing. And it's just a matter of asking the question, posing the question, and then sitting with it. And you will hear an answer. You might feel a sensation in your body, either pulling you forward or sitting you back. Kind of like when we had Manda Stack on, she did our yes, no, and you can feel it. You can feel it in your body if you'll pay attention. So, do that. And again, like W said, there's a lot of times when it might not be the right time. This may be the right person, but it has to gestate a little bit. It just needs a little more time to develop. And, it's not like something you have to give up on unless you have a very clear no, this is not. Um, and it's, again, it may be no for now or it may be no forever. Um,
Mhm.
so I definitely agree. The energy is a huge factor. The clarity that you receive from your inner being is a huge factor. Just sit with it. But again, it's complementary. I like to say it's not a competition, it's a compliment. Whoever you happen to collaborate with, you should be complimenting one another.
Yes.
Because again, as we uplift, we all rise. We're not, we don't push someone down to try to make ourselves bigger and better. When you collaborate, when you uplift one another, that's where the fun begins.
Oh yeah.
Just like this is just fun. This is so fun for me to get to interview experts in their fields. So I definitely love the idea of collaboration. I love uplifting one another and celebrating. Um, you also have a podcast platform, don't you? That is kind of a
So
collaboration or a.
within Ladies Power Launch, we offer opportunities for women to increase their impact and their income. Who doesn't want that, right? My idea is this: there are some women, it's not everybody, but there are some women who they can close their eyes and they can see themselves in the future. They can see themselves walking onto that big stage. They can hear their walk on music playing in the background. They can see their favorite mentor holding the mic and introducing them. They can feel the feeling of joy of walking out to this great group of people and delivering an amazing presentation and then watching how their words change the lives of so many. Guess what? A
Hmm.
podcast does that for you.
Ooh,
Isn't that amazing? And
that,
so in Ladies Lunch, we offer people who would like to take that next step many opportunities. For example, there is a collaboration that we're working on right now where if you want to be a published author, you can be part of a collaborative work because again, I'm all about collaboration. So
mhm.
I could get out there and just write a book and who knows, somebody might read it or they might not. Or I can do a collaboration with 23 other writers and we share this message of love and joy to the world. And it is certain that people will be drawn to that. So there's the opportunity for being part of our writing circle. We have summits, which back in the day they used to be in person. Now they are virtual. But for those women who want to take the stage, who really, really have that big message that they need to share, we get together on our summits and we have, again, about 24 women, and we come together and we share in a day or two all this great information with our group.
Mm.
As far as the podcast network goes, it's sort of the same thing. You can get out there and you can just put out your podcast. I heard that iTunes has 1 billion active subscribers, so that's a good thing. But I've also heard that we've hit the 1 million mark for a number of podcasts that are out there. So, chance of you being seen or heard
Mm.
when you put your story out there, when you put your podcast out there to the world, and then again, narrowing it down to being heard by the people that are your people, the people that you want to be talking to. I'm not saying it can't happen because law of attraction, right? All
Absolutely.
is possible. But I would also suggest that it's this idea of collaboration. When we get together, when we support each other, then all when the tide rises, so do all the boats, right? So
Absolutely.
the podcasting network, it's similar to the idea of the summits, it's similar to the idea of the collaborative book writing project. It's women who podcast, who have a message that they want to share, coming together to have their podcasts be on this network, and we all promote each other. So we interview each other on each other's podcasts. And when we're promoting our podcast, then we're promoting the network. So people will come and they will look at your podcast and then they look at all the others as well. And it's just a way of using this idea, this principle of collaboration to really stand out in the marketplace, because the marketplace, guys, it's crowded, and it's not really that idea of competition. It's just that there are lots of things for people to listen to. And
Right.
so if you want to get seen, if you want to get heard, sometimes there are strategic ways that you can make that happen. And since collaboration is my jam, it's what I am all about, then I say, why not use collaboration to have people see your podcast too?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It just exponentially grows.
It does. It
That
does because
energy just multiplies.
yes, it's tremendous. Podcasts are great. People listen to podcasts when they're doing everything and
Right.
anything. It's not like a book where you have to really sit and pay attention to all the things that you're doing. You can you can listen to a podcast if you're driving, if you're cooking, if you're
Mhm.
you can even listen to a podcast if you're listening to something else. True
Yeah.
story. We've got to that stage where we're multitasking so much that podcasts have just become, a really, really big part of our lives. And I will say that getting seen and getting heard by the right people, and that's key here, is going to depend on how you're putting yourself out there. When we get together to have this podcasting network, you interview me on your podcast, Marianne, and you interview the 24 other women who are part of the podcasting network. They, in turn, are posting the promos for your podcast to increase viewership to your podcast. They, in turn, are posting the feed to join them when they are featured on your podcast.
Mhm.
My 10-year-old, he's fantastic with math. I'm going to have him do the math to see the exponents, to see that actually
There you go.
how that actually translates to real numbers. But it does. It does. And podcasts are not there's not really a one-to-one co- um, correlation in terms of I put out this podcast and I get this one client. It's not really like that at
Right.
all. Podcasts take time and nurturing
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
actually show financial returns. And
Mhm.
so a way to get this nurturing faster, but in a very intentional and a very aligned way, is to do it with a group of people who are also intentional and who are
Right.
also aligned. And
Right.
so that's the principle upon which the Ladies Power Lunch podcasting network is based. And right now we're building out the platform and we're adding more and more podcasts to our our network. And so I'm looking forward to being able to share all of this information with you
Aw,
as we go along.
awesome. I love that. I love and I enjoy listening to podcasts. I love that those are available. And like you said, we can do it anytime. It's such an easy access thing, and there's so many to choose from. Um, um,
One of the things that I like about working with our podcast network is that I don't have time to add a new thing to the list of things that I have to do. I did mention at the top, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a physician, I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, and I'm running this Ladies Power Lunch group. So adding another thing to the things that I'm already doing, that does not feel spacious for me. That
Mm.
does not feel fun for me. That does not feel happiness for me. And so I enjoy taking advantage of the talent that we have within the Ladies Power Lunch group.
Mhm.
And we actually do have members who are associated with our podcast network, and what they do is the done for you. So, your content that you already have, or content that you are currently recording and um, using to make podcasts, they take that raw footage and they build it out into a very professional looking and sounding podcast. So they do all the sound editing and all of that stuff, and then they give us the finished product back. And it just looks like $1 million podcast, when
Mhm.
really and truly, it's probably content that you might even already have had or that you might have
Right.
recorded before. So it's it's just a way of, I think collaboration speaks to working smarter, not harder.
Mhm.
And I'm always about that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Enough of the hard work part. And the thing is, there's, even though it might be something that we don't have time for, or it's not a piece of the technology or whatever that we aren't skilled at, or it's something we would have to learn, to have the people behind the scenes who love doing that.
That's their thing.
That's
That's their
their
that's
that
their
is
joy. That's what brings them
absolutely.
their happiness. So when you're giving
Absolutely.
them, I have I have goosebumps thinking about this. When you're giving them your raw footage that's causing you anxiety to
Mhm.
try to edit, and they get it, it gives them so much joy to
Mhm.
turn it from raw footage into something beautiful for the world to consume.
Yeah.
There is no better gift that you can give a professional than giving them the thing that they love to do. I
Yes.
have
Yes.
a member of just an aside, a member of our Ladies Power Lunch group, who she's an accountant, but she likes the bookkeeping side of things. And I
Mm.
don't know if you've met Sophie from Sophie's Bookkeeping, but she is outstanding. And she loves it when people come in with their paper bags full of receipts, because she brings order to that chaos. And it
Right.
just makes her happy. I don't understand. And I bring this up because I don't understand that. Like, that makes no
Mhm.
sense to me. Seeing those receipts would just cause me to have sleepless nights. But for her, it's bringing order to your chaos. And she loves doing that
Right.
stuff. So give I'm about delegating too. So collaboration and delegating. Give people the things that they love to do that
Mhm.
you have no interest in doing, that are not in your wheelhouse, that are not your sphere of brilliance. Give it to
Yes.
somebody else to do, and they will love it. They will, if
Yeah.
you've ever eaten something that somebody who loves cooking has made, you'll
Mhm.
notice there's an extra ingredient in there. And it sounds so cliche, but that piece of love that's in there, it makes all the difference. And it's the
Yeah.
same thing when you delegate to somebody who loves doing the thing that you absolutely despise.
Absolutely. There are people who want to do these things that we just go, oh, I don't want to have to do that. It's like, you don't. You don't have to. There's people for that. There's people who that is their gift. That's their genius. So, yeah, let's utilize this collaboration with the people, with all these, because we all, if we're in business, we have so many different aspects to our business, and even our family life or whatever, just that balance. And like you said, the delegation, I think that's probably what I struggle with the most, is being able to delegate and turn loose of it. That's my
Well,
little control freak thing
it's
going on, I guess.
interesting because, like you're saying, it's that control
Mhm.
that you want to have. And it came to me in meditation the other morning, and I feel like it was the perfect thing that I needed to learn in that moment. Because I also do have that little control freak tendency,
Right.
and I will want to do everything just to make sure that I know it's done. And Spirit was saying to me that, you know what? You have a tool that you are not necessarily utilizing in the way that you could. And this tool is control, but it's not control of the things, it's control of your energy.
Oh, mm, very
And
good.
when you get to the stage where you're not trying to control all the pieces of the puzzle, but you're controlling your energy, guess what happens with the pieces of the puzzle? They all fall right into place.
I love that. I love that.
Not from me, spirit.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you said that because that's going to touch somebody. That's going to be a little zing like tap, 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 tap.
There are so many of us, especially for women in business, because we've been sort of socialized. This is how the world has treated us. We're women, we're in business, we have to work harder, we have to do more, we have to make it in a man's world. That's kind
Mhm.
of the energy and the messages that we have been fed over the years. And I'm not saying that we should sit around and do nothing.
Right.
That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we should ensure that our action is inspired. And how do we do that? Tend to our energy.
Hmm. I totally agree. I totally agree. Feeling good should be our number one priority. You should be selfish enough to feel good.
Yes,
Make
ma'am.
that your priority. Um, and yeah, there's many times when I'll get started on something and I'll think, oh, this feels pretty good. And then the further I get into it, the harder I start feeling myself push. And I go, ooh, this isn't feeling so good. Time for a break.
Yep.
Just recognizing when we're overdoing, when we're
Yes.
getting overwhelmed,
Yes.
controlling the energy, speaking to our energy. Where are we placing it? How does it feel? What do we want to experience? So I totally agree with that. That's some good stuff there.
Absolutely. I love that. That's
Yeah.
gold for me.
That's a good one. I'm gonna have to remember that one. Write that one down. Borrow
Yes,
your
you have
spirits.
control. You have control, but just pay attention to what you're trying to control. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. This is true. And I think the other side of that is allowing yourself to receive.
Yes.
I'm the last few weeks, uh, my inner guides have been talking to me a lot about receiving, even in meditation. Sometimes I have a real strong, the left side of our body is the feminine, the nurturing, and the receiving side. And sometimes I kind of actually feel myself like leaning with my eyes closed to the left side because it's such a strong pulling that I'm supposed to learn to receive. And I just keep pushing against it. And so now I'm in a position right now to allow myself to receive and allow myself to receive the way they can give it. It's not in my prescription of, well, this is how I want to receive it. You know, allow somebody else to do their work and receive it graciously instead of resentfully. You maybe be forced to have to receive something because somebody has to do something for you. But receive it gracefully and graciously and appreciatively. I
Yes.
think that's my biggest thing learning right now is to receive because sometimes we
Receiving
simply
is
don't
not
feel
how
worthy
we're
to receive.
built.
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, in our, shouldn't say it's not how we're built. I should say, and I'm speaking from my personal experience, so you can tell me if yours differs in any way. But how I grew up was, you're the woman, so you're the giver, you're the nurturer, you're the taker carer of everybody else.
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
this is true. And also, at some point, if you only give, then your cup is going to be empty.
Absolutely.
I have this meditation or visualization, whatever you want to call it, that I do with myself. And sometimes I also do it with clients. And it only takes a few seconds, really. Would you be open to sharing that with me?
Absolutely. I love it when my guests share some good yummy thing with us.
And you might hear kids running in the background.
I no
Tune them
problem
out
here.
or tune them in. I don't know. Either one of those things you can do. Either one of those things is perfectly fine. So I invite you, if it feels right for you, to go ahead and close your eyes and imagine, if you will, that you are about to just take a really quick journey. And I invite you to take a deep breath in and hold it and go ahead and exhale. And as you exhale, imagine that there's a bright, beautiful light from the earth just coming up and encasing you. And it's taking away all the doubt and the fear and any emotions that you're still holding on to that no longer serve you. It's dissolving those away. And now it's just fading back into the earth and taking with it everything that doesn't serve. And in its space, here comes, imagine a beautiful, bright white light encasing your body, enveloping you, surrounding you. It's sort of a protective shield, but it's also permeating every single cell of your body, and you can feel it like a tingly, beautiful feeling going through you from your head to your toe. And just imagine that this is light and love from spirit pouring into you, filling you with joy and love and hope and positive expectation for the future. And now imagine also coming at you. And remember, you are encased in this beautiful bright white light. So the only thing that can come through is love. And imagine that all the points of light on the face of this earth are sending to you green light energy, and it's going directly to your heart. And it's just the love that's coming from the world, filling your heart. And as you feel yourself being filled with love and light from above, and love and light from all over our planet, allow yourself to radiate out this beautiful light and love to the world, touching the people around you, extending further, touching everybody in your state, extending further, touching everybody in your country, and reaching out into the world and reaching out into the universe. And you realize that the light of love is keeping you full, and the light of love from the world is keeping you full, and you have no choice but to keep pushing that love and beautiful energy out into the world. And I invite you to just take a deep breath and sit with that for a minute. Feel that feeling of filling up with love and also pushing love out into the world. And inhale and slowly exhale. And as you exhale, come back into your body, and you can open your eyes when it feels right for you, right back into this place where we've all gathered together. And know that the love continues to pour into you, love from source, love from the world, and that you continue to push that beautiful light of love also out to everybody.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, when you were talking about all those points, it's like those when you see um, points of light,
Like
that
a Verizon
all
commercial.
coming like a grid coming, yeah, coming to you, and then it's just like it immediately like starts just bouncing out in
Yes,
just waves of
yes,
love extended outward that we radiate. So very good, very good. I appreciate you doing that for us. I just love it when we have stuff like this. It's so juicy,
yes.
so yummy.
I enjoy doing that. that little visualization for myself personally because I like the idea of clearing out the things that do not serve and welcoming
Mhm.
the new beautiful light. And I also like sharing it with and other different types of visualizations depending on what it is that we're working on with clients and patients that we work with because
Mhm.
if you can see it, you can be it.
Right. Right. Yeah, even when you were talking about, letting all the fears and everything melt away, and it was just sort of like, being in the bubble, but yet inside, it's sort of like when you see a balloon with uh, sparkles in it, when somebody's blown some sparkles into it, and then you just let them settle, and it was just like
Like a
they were
snow
just
globe.
all falling down,
Yes,
all
yes.
these little glitters of things that I think they were kind of glittery and shiny because they get my attention. Fear and anxieties and worry and uncertainty and competition. Those are all things that what's that? So maybe that's why mine were glittery.
Perhaps. And I would even go so far as to say that maybe they were glittery because at some point in your life, these things served you. They may
That's true.
have stood in a place of protection for you. They may have given you some confidence. They may have given you they would not have been there if they hadn't been in some way
Important.
positively
Yeah,
affecting you.
right, right.
However, you are at the stage now where you no longer need to hold on to them. And so it's okay to let them go, let them go back. Because no energy is ever destroyed, can
No.
only be recycled. This is physics, guys. I won the physics prize, so I know this is true.
I love it. I love it. Oh, well, is there anything else you would? Oh, I wanted to let you have a moment just to invite people and kind of let them know how they could join Ladies Power Lunch if they would like to do that.
So, Ladies Power Lunch is, as I said at the top, it's a free platform. I We started because a group of us just realized that there was a need for us to get together and support each other. And in my opinion, Ladies Power Lunch has grown to be more of a movement than anything else. It's
Mm-hmm.
just women realizing that this idea of cattiness and fighting each other and competing with each other, it does not serve, and that we achieve so much more when we actually come together. And so, if anybody would like to be a part of this, if anybody feels the pull, anybody feels like, you know what, this idea is a little crazy, it's a little screwy, but I kind of like it, then
Mm-hmm.
I invite you to go on over to ladies, that's with an S, powerlunch.com, and on our About page, you can sign up to be a member and you'll get our emails showing you how to join our free Facebook group, how to participate with the group, how to share about your business so that our extended reach can also know about you and know about what you do, and also how you can basically just help others to rise as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've heard me talking and you feel like, yes, she's definitely one of the crazy ones, but I would like to talk to her some more because I like the
Mm-hmm.
kinds of conversations that she's having. Then I invite you to go to my scheduler, which is at chat with drdavia.com. And that doctor is spelt out, and my name is spelt out Davia. So it's chat with drdavia.com.
And
And
we'll put those links in the
yes, in the
comments.
show note. Yep. And you can reach out to me. I'm always happy to have conversation. I love to talk about things like happiness. I love to talk about things like collaboration. I like to talk about things like living your optimal life. I love
Yeah.
to talk about things like you don't have to decline as you get older. These are conversations that I just love to have.
Mhm.
And so I welcome anybody who likes to talk about those things. Hit me up. We'll talk for 20 minutes and I think it'll be great.
Yeah, take her up on these offers. It's the Ladies Power Lunch is really there are so many women in there that are so engaged. And we have coffee breaks. So they're just little short half hour, little virtual get togethers where she'll bring in an expert for a particular thing.
And the
Um,
experts are always our members because our group is so full of experts.
oh, yes.
So maybe you
Yes.
might be an expert at something, and we need to
That's
bring
right.
you in to talk. On Friday, when
That's
we
right.
had coffee break, I brought you in because I needed to have somebody who was a business person who was also using Instagram and probably had some insight about the things that the challenges that a business person might feel when using Instagram. But on our panel, we had an actual Instagram certified teacher, and
Oh,
we had an influencer, and we also had a woman who used to be a marketer for Pfizer, but she is now running her own marketing firm. And so the experts that we bring, they're the real deal. And we try to keep it
yes.
to a half hour, but
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, there's so much information to pack in there that it's not that easy. But I'm trying. I'm working on it.
There was. Let me tell you, there are so many times when I take so many notes while I'm on just even those coffee breaks because there's so much going on. Okay, yeah. Here's two pages of my notes just on the last one that we had. And it was on Instagram 201. We had a previous one, 101. And so she brought the experts back and, they kind of went another step further.
Yes.
So there's so much support. There are people who have jewelry businesses or clothing businesses, or it's just runs the gambit. There's a garden tower lady, and healthy eating or supplements, or it's just across the board awesome.
We have two
And
beauty
like,
queens in our group.
oh,
So
I didn't know
one is
that.
Miss Jamaica. She was Miss Jamaica, and the other one is Miss Connecticut. So yeah, we
Wow,
do have two
cool
beauty. I mean,
celebrities.
I'm just saying this to say that it doesn't matter what you do.
Yes. No. Yeah, there's retirees in there. There's homemakers in there. It runs the gambit, folks. Ladies, just go over to the website ladiespowerlunch.com, and we'll put that in the comments as soon as we finish up here, because there's I just wanted to give Davia as much time as possible to talk about collaboration because it's so near and dear to me. Again, that's why I do these coffee and convos. And I want to run into an announcement here before I give her a little quick last opportunity to give us a good word. Um, the next Coffee and Convo, I'm actually adding a second one to the month. So I'm going to try to see if I can fill slots for the second and fourth Sunday of each month. So our next Coffee and Convo live will be on July the 26th, again at 10 a.m. Central here at Marianne Pack Coaching on Facebook. So our guest is going to be Christy Sullivan. She is a wellness advocate, an author, and a human design expert. And she'll explain that to us because I know human design is probably not in the forefront of a lot of people's understanding, but she is so clear and concise on what human design is and what it means, and how to have your human design reading done. She is on a self-care mission, and I'm looking forward to interviewing Christy. She is also a member of Ladies Power Lunch. I will probably be uh, gathering a whole lot of people that I want to collaborate with here on Coffee and Convo Live from that group, because there are, like she said, there's 1,200 people, and not that many are probably active on the Facebook group, but it is just so much fun to be with these ladies and see all the wisdom and genius that they bring to the group. And they're not shy about, if you ask a question because you need help, boom, they're on it. So, this is that receiving that we need to accept and allow for ourselves. Gives ourselves permission to ask and receive.
Yes.
So, do you have any other good word you would like to leave us with before we close out?
Yes, I would say, embrace the idea of collaboration. And I think there are three things to consider when you're considering collaboration. Definitely, the first thing is you want to be open to it. You want to really release the idea of competition and know that there is an infinite amount of abundance in the universe, and
Mm-hmm.
there's nobody out there who can stop your abundance from flowing to you.
Right.
It's just not possible. So I think the first step is being open to
Right.
that idea of collaboration. Step two is really ask yourself, is this particular collaboration right for me? And really feel into the energetics of it. If you are in the right collaboration at the right time, it's going to go swimmingly. But if it's not right for you, or if it's not right at the time, it might not go so well. So don't skip this step.
Mm-hmm.
And then step three is once you're in that collaboration, make sure that everybody in the collaboration is doing the thing that is their genius. For example, I mentioned earlier the women who formed that company that does a great job with websites. Don't put
Yes.
somebody who loves SEO on design.
Right.
That's not going to be a good idea. And
Mm-hmm.
I have found that if you're intentional with your collaboration, if you really, really treat it with deep respect, that it will give you back in millions and bounds and leaps. So that's my suggestion as far as collaboration goes. I say to everybody, reach out to me. I am so, so very happy to talk to all of you, and definitely join the movement that is Ladies Power Lunch, because we're here to change the world one woman at a time.
I love it. I love it. We're here to uplift so that we all rise. So I want to thank Davia and appreciate that she spent time with us and talking about a favorite subject of mine, collaboration and uplifting others, because we are all uplifters, teachers, and healers in some form or fashion in our lives. Um, as we're on a quest for more life, more love, more joy, we get the most out of it and the most benefit by being happy ourselves and then being in joy, because you are joy looking for a way to express. I love you all. Thank you and have a glorious rest of your Sunday. We'll see you next time in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We'll see you then. Thank you, Davia.
Thank you.
Bye bye now.